If you plan on selling your home for sale by owner, there are 3 things that many people will do that will guarantee that you scare away all the buyers that come look at your house. And it's not what most for sale by owners think. So stay tuned for this video and I'm gonna break those 3 down. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is King Jerome and I'm a Wisconsin-based realtor. And on this channel, I love to show families and people like yourselves who are looking to save some money in selling their own home and teach you everything that you need to know, because I believe it's everybody's right to be able to sell their own home if they want to. So let's talk about 3 big things that a lot of people end up missing, or not end up missing, but 3 things that will for sure scare away some buyers, or a lot of buyers, as a matter of fact. Number 1, bad or missing photos. So when I say bad missing photos, they don't look professional, right? Like if you go on Zillow right now, you see all the photos for a certain house. They look very bright, right? They look sometimes almost kind of fake, but you know it's real. They're very wide angled. They look very nice and professional, nice and neat and clean. Now, once in a while, you may come across homes on Zillow or Realtor.com or even on the MLS where you start seeing darker looking photos, right? The picture looks dark. There's not a lot of lighting. You might have some clothes around. Even if it's not on the ground or messy, it gives the illusion that it's a rundown house, even if it's not. So a big term that we use a lot in real estate is called staging, right? And if you're not aware what staging is, it's pretty much when we get ready to show the house, whether that's on an open house or just bringing somebody through, or making it available for other people to come through with their agents to go check out the house. You already have furniture preset in there. You make it look real nice, really nice. And it's in a style where you're attempting to give the prospective buyer the ability to picture themselves living there. Now, a problem is with clothes and things like that, personal belongings, that they're not really able to do that. And it's going to make it feel like the home is cluttered when it's really not. The home is not cluttered. It's cleaned up. Everything is nice and neat. But in their minds, it's cluttered because they're not able to picture themselves living in there because there's all this stuff here already. Think about the homes that you've gone in that, yeah, they still have really nice stuff. Everything's really cleaned up. You see family photos everywhere and stuff. It's kind of hard for you to connect with the home. Maybe not too much, but even just a little bit. So having bad photos or even missing ones will make you feel like something's missing here, or maybe they're trying to hide something. That's going to tie into one of the next points. One of the next points being that there's no trust signals. There's not enough information, like basic information. For example, if you write in your listing, nice home, recently remodeled, 3-bed, 2-bath, perfect for a family, and that's it. But you don't mention anything about the things a buyer would be thinking about. How's the foundation? Is there any cracks in it? Is there any leaks in it? What you got to realize, and the reason why we as real estate agents do so well with these, is because we are not emotionally attached to your home. So the big thing that you need to be aware of, you have to keep your emotions in check as much as you want, as hard as it is. And granted, it's way easier said than done, but you have to try as hard as you can to keep your emotions in check, because you know the value that your home has. You know how awesome it is going to be for another family, and maybe friends who've come by to your home before, they probably think the same thing. But now when it comes down to someone actually buying the home, they suddenly get all of these sudden they start second guessing themselves. They start having all these reservations about it. For example, I had a buyer recently We went and seen a home. It's a beautiful home in the country. Everything in this home was pretty much perfect. Like, it was almost the perfect storm for my buyer. It was an unfortunate situation on the seller side, of course, because it's where the current seller unfortunately passed away in the hospital, and then the family is left with the house. So all the belongings are still already there. It's maybe one person who's trying to move all this stuff out one at a time. So they listed it almost $60,000-$70,000 under market value, so it can sell quickly, so they don't have to deal with it. The biggest thing they were concerned next about was having to move all the stuff. So my buyer offered, hey, he can remove all the stuff on his own. He works for, a junk removal company, things like that. So they can take it all out. Pretty much an offer we wrote, but the seller can leave anything that they want. Either they can't move or don't want to move or any junk, we'll remove it. And that alone, fitting the situation that the family was in, was a perfect fit. So all this went through perfectly. We got the accepted offer. And then once I talked to them and I told them, because of course this is their first time buying a home, that, hey, look, as soon as this offer is accepted, if it gets accepted, the nice, dialogue and, how things are nice and laid back, seeing homes and stuff, that's all going to end, because now we have a very strict deadline that we need to get things done. So as soon as things got real, he started getting cold feet. He's like, I want to make sure I get an inspection now, because on the last one, on the offer, he waived the inspection. But now he wants an inspection done. He wants to make sure septic is all good. But all I'm saying, I'm not complaining about my buyer at the time or anything like that. What I'm saying is that not having all this information in there will start to create feelings of, man, am I really getting screwed over if I go for this? So you want to avoid that. You want to list out everything that you know about the house in there. And this is some of the paperwork that I mentioned as well in my other videos about how not to get sued when you're selling for sale by owner. And you have to make sure that you have all these documents in there. And you can find that on a checklist, easy checklist I have in my in the description below, that you can just go click and download to check it out. So moving forward, the last step is pricing. When the pricing doesn't make any sense with the house itself. For example, when a house is just listed, say I just list your house today, right? And let's say, just to keep math nice and simple, $200,000. That's what we're listing at. In the first couple days, I need to be paying attention to how the response is to the house just being listed on the market, because that's going to tell me if I need to either increase price or decrease price, right? If I'm getting a lot of traction, a lot of people coming, nonstop reaching out, then that to me is going to be an indicator that, hey, this is probably pretty good of a price. If I start getting a little too much in a way, it's not that it's a bad thing, but you might be in a sweet spot there to get as much people as possible. But at the same time, if I go too low, or if you list it too low, people are going to think there's something wrong with it. So what you'll get with that a lot of times is you won't have as many people looking to just buy it outright. You might start getting a lot of investors. Investors is not a bad thing, but at the same time, investors have their process on how much capital or how much money that they're willing to put towards a home, an investment property, and whether they want to flip it, whether they want to rent it out, or do whatever it is that they want to do. Their goal is not to throw down all of their cash at the home. So a lot of times it's going to be a cash offer, but it's going to be nowhere near where you're hoping to land price-wise, right? Now, if you list it too high, then buyers are going to start thinking that you're completely out of your mind. Right, so they're gonna just ignore you. They're not even gonna bother trying to reach out or even trying to negotiate the price, because a lot of people have the belief that, oh, if I list it too high, then the buyer can just negotiate it down and we'll get there. The problem with that is that sometimes if you price it just too high, they're not even gonna bother. Right, they're not even gonna bother. And depending on the market, like right now at the making of this video, the market is at least where I am here in Wisconsin, is slowly starting to turn again towards being more of a buyer's market, meaning there's a lot more sellers now than there's going to be buyers, right? So buyers can be picky, but even when that's not the case, even when that's not the case, a lot of buyers are still, they can still be picky, right? If they have agents, they'll tell them flat out, if this is overpriced, if you really want it, we'll offer at this amount. They offer you the amount, and then a lot of times people get they get offended, like, oh, I'm like, my house is worth way more than what they just offered, right? But what you gotta keep in mind is, it doesn't matter, and I talk about this in other videos, and you'll hear me talk about this more and more on this channel, is no matter the amount of things that you've done to your home, whether it's, upgrades, new roof, things like that, yeah, it has an effect on the price, but it's not going to be equal to the amount of money that you actually paid for. So let's say you paid for a new in-ground pool that cost $20,000. You paid for a brand new roof that cost another $20,000. And I'm just using $20,000 to keep the math simple. And let's say you had a bunch of drywall inside the house replaced and things like that, and that cost you an additional $20,000, right? Say that's between drywall, changing floor panels, or just upgrading and remodeling the indoors. So a total of $60,000 has gone into this house. So say your house was originally, the other homes in your area, or your comparables or your comps, what we call them, are all about $200,000 for the style of home that you have, the amount of bedrooms, bath, square footage, where you're located. It's $200,000 usually. Now, let's say you try to list your house at around $260,000, maybe $270,000, $280,000, maybe $300 to recoup your money and still make a profit. People are going to think you are insane, right? Because the amount of work and money that you've paid into the house does not determine what the house is actually worth, because that's based on what other homes extremely similar to yours that are close to yours within 6 months to a year, or sometimes further back if you're in more rural areas, what they're selling for. And that's what an appraiser is going to go based off of as well, because they run their comparative analysis comparable analysis very similar to the way realtors do. So that's something to keep in mind. So I know this was a lot. I know I probably kind of chat a little bit here, but I just really want to make sure that you guys understand these 3 things. Make sure you avoid it. Don't have crappy photos. Make sure they're nice. What's the second one? Make sure you fill in as much information as you possibly can into your listing to build as much trust as possible. And finally, make sure that your pricing is making sense with what you're listing. So something I want to offer you, I know I mentioned about something earlier in the video, but I have this checklist, very simple checklist that I put together, and it's pretty much everything that you need to make sure that you market your house properly. Very quick checklist. Just make sure if that's something that you want to take a look at, just check it on the description down below. You can just click in there and it will be there for you. Just click that link, and if the link doesn't work, just copy and paste it into the browser, and that will take you right to where you can get that checklist for yourself. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it, share it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.